Pretty well. All right, Bertha, as announced, we're doing a assessment video real briefly here. And I'm going to go back through my cleanse assessment. And part of what we're doing today is nutritional assessment, but this is a way that you can quantify because we want quantifiable results. And this guy here, the Integrated Healing System Cell Owner's Manual, has some good stuff, but that's not why we're here. So we'll go to Fall Cleanse. And you'll notice in the Craig's exam sheet, October 2022 cleanse. And I let the people in the cleanse, that didn't work quite well. That they could use this and make a copy. You guys can make a copy of it because there's different. So there's do-it-yourself home testing sheet. There's an office exam sheet, which I started right here. The office exam sheet also gives you a cheat sheet of the questions to ask, the exam flow on the right, iris type and sclera type cheat sheet prompts. This part here we can go over later. Some coding to myself. And then this is the Touch for Health system. I'd like to teach that at some point, some muscle testing system. So you can see that the office exam. Then if you want to look at your pulses, I have a cheat sheet for the pulses here. Fast, slow, strength, wiry, size on the 3 pulses. So a little cheat sheet there. A system survey cheat sheet. So group 1, these are the organs involved. Group 3, here's the organs involved. Then an image of the nutritional exam, where to palpate on the intestines. And then finally, a work in progress is differential diagnosis page. Sympathetic, parasympathetic, fast, slow, catabolic, excess, deficiency. But the one we're going to go through right now, real briefly, I was tracking my vitality because Monica wanted some markers for vitality. So let me blow this up a little bigger. So I kept my cleanse at a very mild level because of what you're seeing on here. My blood pressure was pretty consistently falling. So on the 21st, it took me that long. I started the cleanse on like the 7th or the 8th, and I was really dragging my feet about doing the blood pressure check because I knew why. I just didn't want to see the numbers. And then, so they were falling about 10 to 12 points. It's not horrendous.
But it says beware.
Yeah, the pulse, see, there's a 17-point pulse increase, a 21 pulse increase. Look, those pulse increases I was caffeinated too. So this last one, I did it on caffeine, and look what happened. I was on 5 ounces of coffee and 2 tea bags, and it jumped up 13 points. Do you think that's what it would normally be off the caffeine?
Shouldn't be.
No. These other 2 were on very low or off caffeine. And I wanted to see, well, what is it going to look like with caffeine? And I made a little cheat sheet note there. So that's a good reading for me on caffeine because generally the pulse goes to 325 with a heart pulse, and it shows an error message on the cuff, and it showed me a regular 94 without a palpitation there. So I knew my mineral status wasn't horrible. But then I go down to my minerals and look at my oral pH was 6 and 6. And then I started heavily mineralizing again, and it went back up a little bit.
Craig, can you go to the blood pressure? So what are those 2 numbers? The blood pressure lying down is 138 and then standing up is 87? Well, why are they 2?
Yeah, they're right at, you do it lying down and then standing up, right?
Yeah, so the columns go vertical.
Yeah, but what is the 130/80? What is that?
You don't know what how to look at a blood pressure reading?
No,
Does-
I'm confused by how you have put it on the sheet.
So it's 130/80 is the systolic diastolic. I could have the systolic diastolic separated in separate cells, but that's not the way it's ever written medically. It's always written 1/430 / the lower number.
Oh, okay, all
It's
right.
always written that way medically. The numbers are not separated. So I'm following medical nomenclature there.
Yeah.
Okay,
And so it's the systolic diastolic, and I'm just showing you lying down here in the same column, standing up here, and then on this date, they were that,
okay.
and on this date. And then the pulse I did separate out, see, which is a pretty
Mhm.
radical rise each time.
Okay,
If you haven't done the sergeant's line scratch test, you just basically scratch your forearm and see how bad the welt is with your fingernail. You just and you scratch up, and you can look for that. I have it in the Google Drive under the assessment area, and it tells you how much histamine you're producing. And I had a normal response to that. I haven't done the pupil reflex in a while. That's another one that's worth trying. We can demonstrate that. It's basically like if you have a light shining into the eye from the side, like a pen light or a doctor's flashlight, and the pupil will dilate, of course, because there's a light shining on it. And it's another looser marker of vitality. If you can't hold a contraction for 30 seconds with a light shining in the side of your eye, you have adrenal fatigue, because it's the same reflex as the standing up reflex,
Huh.
called the paradoxical pupillary reflex test. So 30 seconds is what you want. Have I ever had a person hold it 30 seconds? Never. The worst result is you shine a light into someone's eye and their pupil, instead of contracting, it will dilate, which is the opposite of what should happen, right?
Oh,
When a light shines in your eye, your pupil closes to let less light into your brain, so you don't fry your optic nerve. The paradox pupil reflex. pH, very valuable. We've been over that a bunch. And look at my urine pH. Of the worst of it was more alkaline than my oral pH. And it was taking an anti-parasite, and I was, months into the anti-parasite protocol. So I think that all the parasite poop, if you will, if I didn't get enough minerals in, was causing this reaction here. Temperature was low for me. I didn't do it again. But I did the NTQ test. NTQ means neurotoxic questionnaire. And over 50 is toxic, and I got a 63. Uh-oh.
mm.
Very good questionnaire. You can go in here and get this. I'll show you real quick. It's a 0 to 5 scale, subjective. And interesting. Oh, that's right. I did that with it. I'll blow it up so you can see a little bit better. So this is from the systemic formulas, people. NTQ means neurotoxicity questionnaire. There's 4 sections. So see, anxiety, how bad is it? From this scale up here. Mood swings, how bad is it? Anger. So there's about, see, section 2. And then there's a key for it. So if you take it, I'll give you the link to the key later.
Mm.
So sensitivity to light, morning stiffness, non-restful sleep. Receive a static shock more often than others. That's an interesting one. So see, very relevant stuff. When I don't eat well, that's what I get, excessive sweating at night. So it tells you markers you can look for, if you're toxic. Really helpful. A lot of questions though. See, there's 64 total. So I got 63 there. My breath hold, I wanted to do another set, but the hold out, I was barely above minimum, 24 to 30. And the hold in, I was about 30 to 45 seconds is kind of the minimum there.
When would you recommend this test to somebody? When you see it in the iris, or what would make you?
The NTQ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it should be an annual thing for everybody. There's a bunch of in the folder. Should we go there? Sure, we can go there. In the folder for this, you go to operations, and you guys can get there directly from, well, we can go directly from here, actually, easier. Treasure chest. Scroll down. Now help me find the assessment area, evaluation and assessment folder. There it is. Then I believe it's under evaluation or assessment folder, and you should see the NTQ not there. Interesting.
Because we cannot search like you can, right? We don't have the ability to do that.
This is the master. Let me see where it's living. NTQ. I'll have to put it in. There it is.
From the 30th, yeah.
Well, let's see where it's living, and then I can make a copy of it and move it over. There's a lot of these, the VCS, the visual contrast sensitivity. We can do that later. Details, there we go. Together. It lives in the cell. Oh, the cell assessment folder. Got it. Okay. So I will put it now. I'll make a copy of it and put it in that folder that you can get access to. Yeah, you're right, Isabel. It's really important that I duplicate stuff and get it in the folders you can get access to. So health alchemy infrastructure, and then there it is, evaluation assessment. So it'll live right here in the evaluation assessment for now. Need to make a test. So there you go. It's in there now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. My tongue was really, we could go through some tongue, was really messed up at the beginning of this. I was scared. It was pretty scary looking tongue. And then over the course of the next week, I took some photos and it improved a lot. And there's some questions you could ask yourself. And I did a little, I went back on coffee, got the coffee delusion took over, and I had one good day again of like maybe that much. And it was perfect. A day or two of that, and then I got delusional and I had to stop again. All right. So any other questions on this page?
No. Mm-mm.
So this is in, again, this one is in the cleanse folder. So we should have an exam sheet that you can get access to. So it's called exam sheet. Yeah, so this is the same one, see?
Yeah.
Just blank. Maybe I clean that one up a little more, but let's see where it lives also.
Why was the word sigmoid there on the exam? I don't remember.
Client process, okay. Sigmoid what?
It said sigmoid below in the exam sheet. There, no. There.
Sigmoid colon.
But so, it's just something that you would fill in. I see now. Okay.
It doesn't need to be, I don't know why it's highlighted also, it's weird.
Okay.
We'll make that there. No, it's that the large intestine should be highlighted. There we go.
Yeah.
And those are the different parts of the large intestine. That's all.
Yeah.
Okay, so this lives in the client process folder. You guys don't have access to that. You should, Client process folder. You have to do a link to the client process folder, it looks like. Unless you guys saw it somewhere else. Master topics links. I'll put it over here for now. Client process folder. Is that helpful?
Yes. Uh-huh.
I agree.
We don't need the exam sheet anymore. Okay. All right, so infrastructure, client process. So the client process folder guides you guys through the process a client would normally go through by, uh-oh, what the hell? Okay. Client process folder, computer acting weird. So there's a visit 1 folder, a visit 2 folder, there's a master process, all the portal pages, some of the stuff I have in the, that's not, you guys haven't gone through this yet, making a client folder, but all the stuff you need to make a client folder in the A to Z folder is all here. So we'll be going through this in the future classes for sure. So we just need to share it now. Viewer, you guys can be editors. Copy, done. And then it goes back into here. Okay, that's pretty big, bold letters, should be easy to spot. And a little explanation. Visit by visit and reference materials. There you go. Okay, good.
Thank you.
So there's a series of, I thought that it was in here, but there must be a series of questionnaires that I have separately. Intake forms. I think these intake forms are just the 3 classics that we use. Yeah, the system survey, the intake.
And metabolic, yeah.
And then there's some meals and recipes and the chronometer. So there's some good data if you people need more support. Interesting. And then the evaluation assessment, what we just looked at. Procedures. Oh, yeah, you guys need access to this too. Procedures. It's probably in the treasure chest. We just have to, I just have to go in and. You see right there, operations infrastructure. That gets you there. See, operations infrastructure is right up here, the next level up. Operations right there. So see, with that folder link, you get access to all this. Even my assistant folder. Which, let's see real quick there. Alkemy infrastructure. Okay, so it is 1 layer lower. Okay. Okay, anything else on this? Trying to find the assessment materials?
No.
Okay, so that just gives you some context, Isabel, because you were saying you wanted some context about assessment, right? So I just gave it to you in the terms of vitality for cleansing. That was my context, was my vitality was low, and therefore my cleanse challenges were also low. Therefore, cleansing is, it by its very nature is draining on the system. So that's why I was sleeping an incredible amount during this cleanse, and the sleep was needed to do the metabolic repair.
Mhm. But you do all this because you are aware and you are inclined to ask your body these questions. I find particularly when it comes to nutrition that people get very balled up quickly when you ask about their nutrition.
Yes, they like to say, I know I eat great. And then they get very defensive and uncomfortable because of all the comfort that they get from what they do. What we get from what we do.
Yes, and they also, there always, there seems to be also a very broad spectrum as to what is considered healthy.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So when they say, oh yeah, my, even for